Hello, and welcome to my kitchen floor, the only place with good lighting. It seems to be all the rage to respond to Epidemic 2020's 5 questions from 2 Christians for Atheists. So let's get started.
Hey YouTube, we're Christians and we have 5 questions for atheists. Hopefully this will help us better understand where you guys are coming from.
Alright, let's get right to it. The first question is fairly common, but the answers are always interesting.
Question 1. What kind of evidence would it take for you to believe in God?
Not what would be a good start, but what evidence would actually convince you. And when we say God, we're talking about a mind which is all-loving, all-powerful, meaning he can do everything but the logically contradictory, all-knowing, and eternal.
Question 2.
Alright, so, what evidence would convince me? Any type of empirical evidence that was testable. Now, as for your God concept, I find it interesting that you define something as non-logically contradictory, because there's things in the Bible which God does which are logically contradictory. Example are miracles. Miracles are logically contradictory to the laws of the universe.
Is there anything that I can do that could possibly convince you that God exists?
Like, would any argument we could make have the potential to persuade you?
Question 2. Yes, you could potentially make an argument, a philosophical argument, to convince me of God's existence, though I'm obviously not aware of any such argument, because such argument would convince me, and I'm not convinced.
Question 3. If you realized that an all-loving God existed, would you desire to have a relationship with him?
Question 3, part A, because it's 2 questions. Yes, if there was an all-loving God, I would want a relationship with him. And then you add this subtext.
If you said yes to that question, would you want to have a relationship with him just to get into heaven or for some other reason?
Alright, and then you ask, would I want to have a relationship with this God just to get into heaven? So you assume many things, that this loving God has a heaven and hell, and I wouldn't say that a all-loving God would have a heaven and hell. I would not worship a God or want a relationship with a God just to get into heaven. So no, I wouldn't. But that's because there's the potential for that God to send someone to hell. I would not define an all-loving God as someone who would eternally torture a vast majority of people.
Question 4. Have you ever met a Christian who lives their life in such a way that it is clear that they really believe in an all-loving God?
Yes, I have met several Christians who live their life as though they believe, and then...
Meaning they live a life which is impressively kind, loving, and selfless.
I actually have met Christians that are impressively kind. Not anything to Jesus' standard of always being good or never sin, having never sinned, but certainly good people. I've met good Christians. I've had many Christian friends, particularly Mormons. Mormons have always been very nice to me, but I strongly disagree with their views.
And question 5. Has the presence or lack of that type of Christian had any impact on your atheism?
Okay, so experiences. Experiences affect your life. Any type of experience or lack thereof. We are shaped very much so by our experiences. So yes, having those experiences has affected my life and my atheism. But so has a lot of other experiences I've had.
Feel free to make a video response and answer some or all of these questions. And as always, test everything, hold on to the good.